Hey, I'm Avert, and Wave 6 launched about a week ago. I don't know when this video is coming out, but about a week ago, as the time of filming this, Wave 6 came out, and I'm just gonna give my thoughts on them, I guess. So, yeah, let's do that. So Wave 6 of the Mario Kart Deluxe Booster Course Pass DLC for the Mario Kart Deluxe game for Nintendo Switch just dropped, and it introduced 8 brand new courses. These new courses are Tour Romavanti, GCN DK Mountain, Wii Daisy Circuit, Piranha Plant Cove, Tour Madrid Drive, 3DS Rosalina's Ice World, SNES Bowser Castle 3, and Wii Rainbow Road. Going to start off the Acorn Cup with Tour Romavanti, and I gotta say, this is a pretty solid city track overall. A lot of different twists and turns, a giant coliseum you can drive through, making this the closest thing we'll get to Wario Coliseum ever returning in any Mario Kart game ever. This roundabout here, which every time you go through it, you'll have people driving the other direction, which is really cool. It reminds me of GCN Luigi Circuit, and also there's a pizza place as well. This course manages to have a lot of twists and turns without it getting too complicated and confusing like some of the other tour tracks on your first playthrough. Overall, Romavanti isn't one of my favorite tour tracks in 8 Deluxe, but it's also not one of my least favorites either. It's perfectly average, perfectly fine, has some good moments in there, but overall, it's just your standard tour city track. I will say though, that the graphics on this are really good. I gotta say, they really outdid themselves. This might be one of the best looking tour tracks in this game, which is kind of breaking the law Nintendo has of making it so that tour city tracks cannot look good under any circumstances unless they start with S and end with Singapore Speedway. So yeah, I definitely expected to enjoy this a lot more than I did when it came to 8 Deluxe, but anyway, moving on. GCN DK Mountain is a course that I consider to be extremely overrated ever since it was in Double Dash. I just never really understood the appeal of this track. I mean, yes, you're blasting to a top of a mountain and then driving down, but DK Summit does that exact same thing, and there it actually has some interesting track design instead of just a bunch of wonky turns that are way too tight to clear. Mario Kart Wii's DK Mountain changes kind of balance out, honestly. They made it so that the ending turns are a lot easier to get through and a lot less jank, but they also made it so that there are a bunch of wooden ramps on the mountain that are really out of place. And don't even get me started on Mario Kart Tour's rendition of this course, which is just absolutely terrible. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I still think this course is really overrated. However, I also think that this is most likely the best rendition of this course so far. This version of DK Mountain is kind of just the best of both worlds, honestly. You have it so that the ending section is a lot easier to do, a lot less jank, I like it a lot more, and then the trick ramps don't look too out of place because they're the same color as the mountain. For the music here, they actually added in a flute in the background, making the song sound like it came right out of Tropical Freeze. While the graphics don't look the best, I can definitely say that this track is a lot more fun than it was originally, but I would have much rather had Dino Dino Jungle here instead. So Daisy Circuit got added to this game, and I think it was a pretty bad addition, I gotta say. It's definitely the best circuit track in Mario Kart Wii, but being the best doesn't exactly make it that good. I mean, it's completely fine, you know, it's a decent track, but there are so many other choices they could have put in this slot. Especially considering that Mario Kart Wii has gotten 8 tracks in the Booster Course Pass, whereas Double Dash has only gotten 3. No, I'm not gonna stop being mad about that. That is very stupid. And yet Mario Kart Wii fans are gonna still sit here complaining about how they didn't get Toad's Factory in the game when there are literally only 5 tracks in Mario Kart Wii that have not come to Mario Kart 8. Plus the entire character roster has been brought over. You do not need Toad's Factory, I'm sorry. Rant aside, this track's lighting is absolutely gorgeous, but I wish I could say the same for the textures themselves. They added a couple boost ramps in this roundabout here. The ramp shortcut thing is now a glider shortcut with a piranha plant. Yeah, this track certainly exists. I wish that Airship Fortress or like Lakeside Park or something else was in this wave other than Daisy Circuit. But you know, hey, we got Daisy Circuit and it's decent enough, but definitely a pretty disappointing inclusion to the Booster Course Pass. And finally, for the Acorn Cup, we have Piranha Plant Cove, probably my favorite Nitro track in all of Mario Kart Tour, and I'm kind of mixed on it in 8 Deluxe. On the one hand, this track is absolutely gorgeous, really stunning. The water looks amazing, the lighting is incredible, even though I think that it's a little bit too bright in the underwater sections. But other than that, this track looks amazing. My biggest issues here are the routing and also the scaling. I'll start with the scaling. I think they made this track a little bit too big for my liking. In Mario Kart Tour, the track was a lot smaller, whereas here, it takes a lot longer to drive because the track is just so wide and so long. Also, the routing choice is kind of weird. Instead of doing the logical thing of having Piranha Plant Cove 1 as lap 1, then 2, then 3, they decided to go 2, 1, then 3, meaning that the track instantly hits you with the best parts right off the bat, and then the rest of the track is just underwater stuff. Whereas in Mario Kart Tour, every variant has a good blend of going out of the water and then going into the water. There's never a point where you're like, okay, we've been in the water for too long, or we've been on land for too long. It's a perfect balance between the two. But when you merge all of the variants together, you have sections where they're, quite simply, too much water. I still like this track, but I might honestly prefer the Tour version more. And I cannot say that for any track from Tour brought over into 8 Deluxe except Bangkok Rush. Because in Bangkok Rush, they got rid of the ink piranha plants, the tuk-tuks, and the lighting. That's it for Acorn Cup. Overall, meh, it's alright, I guess. You know, it's not the best cup, but it's not the worst cup either. Romavanti is decent. DK Mountain is good. You know, Daisy Circuit's fine. And then Piranha Plant Cove is good, but albeit a little disappointing. But, yeah. Anyway, Spiny Cup's a lot better. Let's get into that. So the Spiny Cup is actually better than the Acorn Cup by quite a bit, and that's really surprising considering that most of the Booster Course Pass waves have the former cup being better than the latter, with the latter having a bit more highs and lows. But the Spiny Cup in this game have all the highs, while the Acorn Cup is mostly just alright. We start with Madrid Drive, a track that I was really excited to see in this game, and surprisingly, I actually like it a lot more than Romavanti here, which was not expected. This course legitimately feels like it was made with 8 Deluxe in mind. Everything flows so perfectly, like there's no sharp turns out of nowhere, there's no wondering where I'm supposed to go. No, you constantly know where you're driving, and it honestly feels like you're driving through a track from the base game. It's really well done. The key standouts in this track are obviously the museum, the marketplace, the open dining area, and the stadium. There are also water spouts that you can glide over, and overall this track is just really fun to play through. Every lap has something new. A change I really appreciate here is that the soccer balls in the stadium actually do damage to you now. In Tour, they didn't hurt you. You would just add to your combo boost whenever you hit them. But in 8 Deluxe, it's actually an obstacle you need to avoid. But if you hit the soccer ball while you're going on a boost ramp, you can actually just hit it. So it's really good. I like the mechanic now, even if it isn't the hardest obstacle to dodge. I gotta say though, my favorite part of this track may just be the amount of music in it. They made 3 different variants for this song, one of which you'll only hear in the stadium, and the other you'll hear in the museum. The museum song, you're not even gonna hear for 3 seconds, considering it only plays through one single turn. So yeah, Madrid Drive is actually one of my favorite city tracks in the entire game. So, off to a good start here. Next track. Hey, so do you all remember a couple seconds ago when I said that Madrid Drive was a great start to the Cup? Well, welcome to Rosalina's Ice World. This track was mediocre in Mario Kart 7, and it's mediocre here. Hell, it might even be worse here than Mario Kart 7 because this track was not made for the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe engine. The only thing Rosalina's Ice World really has going for it, aside from the banger music, is the fact that it maybe, probably, possibly, most likely replaced Piranha Plant Pipeline, which is really good. Piranha Plant Pipeline rant incoming, by the way. The single opening turn in Rosalina's Ice World in 8 Deluxe is enough to convince me that Piranha Plant Pipeline would not work in this game in the slightest. The camera angle on this turn is terrible. If you stay to the right, it's fine. The second you go left a little bit, the camera will go upside down so you can only see the track and you cannot see anything ahead. It is terrible. Piranha Plant Pipeline 8 Deluxe would literally just be that turn, but the entire track, the entire thing is just turns like that. Could you imagine Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's camera on this track? Well, you don't have to, because custom track creators can show you right now. Nothing against custom track creators, by the way. I mean, they're doing the best they can with what they're given. It's more of an 8 Deluxe engine thing. But look at this! Do you see how bad the camera angle is on these turns? No way in hell would Piranha Plant Pipeline work in 8 Deluxe. And you know what? I'm kind of thinking that maybe Piranha Plant Pipeline didn't get replaced by anything. Maybe they were fully intending on bringing it to the game. They ported the model over and they're like, oh my god, this track is absolutely atrocious. We need to flush it down the goddamn sewer. Piranha Plant Pipeline is generic and boring at best and janky as hell at worst. The only thing, and I do mean the only thing that we're missing out on by not having Piranha Plant Pipeline in the Booster Course Pass is a rearrangement of the music, which goes hard, I'll admit. But other than that, I am happy it is not in the game, if only because smug, condescending Mario Kart YouTubers can no longer demean everyone who thinks that the track isn't making it in by saying, oh, well, all your arguments are stupid, you're a complete dumb idiot head if you don't think that the track is getting into the game, and, like, their arguments are that, well, originally, the track was called Pipe Canyon in Japanese. It wasn't even a Piranha Plant track, they just messed up the translation, but even if they messed up the translation, the track in English is still called Piranha Plant Pipeline, so it's still a Piranha Plant track, meaning that there would be 2 Piranha Plant tracks in the wave, which no. So, doesn't matter, didn't make it in the game, the mid track is dying with Tour. Anyway, remember a minute or so ago when we were talking about Rosalina's Ice World? Let's continue. These 2 half pipes right here might be the 2 worst half pipes in the entire game. I'm not even kidding. They put them a little bit too late so that when you're done the turn, you're most likely just going to go into the wall. And if you do use the half pipe, odds are it's going to go from one half pipe to the other half pipe and then shoot you into the wall. And don't even get me started on 200cc, dear lord. And in terms of visuals, these are probably the worst visuals in the entire wave. The opening section looks really good, but that's about it. Everything else is just ice, and all the ice is just blue. I'm blue. Like, the beginning section looks really good. You have the sky, you have everything looking nice, but then all the ice, it's just blue.
Is that what I think it is? Is that fucking blue? Is that fucking blue?
Also, I don't really like how the skybox is extremely dark, and while it does look gorgeous, the dark skybox doesn't really work with the extremely bright ice. It feels like a fan-made track in which the skybox doesn't fit. So in conclusion, the music is fantastic, and the shortcut near the end is cool, and I like that this track probably replaced Pipeline, but this is by far the worst track in this entire wave, and it's not even close. Anyway, on to the 2 best tracks in the entire wave. We start off with SNES Bowser Castle 3, and I knew this track was going to be great from the second it got introduced in a tour. I already knew that it would be even 10 times better in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I didn't know it would be this good. This is definitely my favorite Bowser Castle in the entire series. And yes, I say Bowser Castle, not Bowser's Castle, which, I mean, I already did a rant about that in my predictions video. I'm not going into that again. This course is my pick for the closest the Booster Course Pass has gotten to achieving base game graphics. Aside from the clouds and maybe the volcano in the background, this 100% looks like it's from base game. It also plays like base game as well, having the best anti-gravity section in the entire Booster Course Pass. This should be the template for how originally flat courses in Super Mario Kart and Super Circuit should be remade in future titles. The walls from the original version of this track on Super Mario Kart are now actual walls that you can drive on top of, which is really cool. A nice little risky thing you can do to get 2 extra items. All the little gaps where you can choose your direction are now trick ramps, and there are actual thwomps in here as well. This course is immensely fun to drive on. It's even more fun in 200cc, whipping around the track. The visuals are incredible and the closest we got to base game. The music is amazing. I love the heavy metal rendition of this music, and it is really faithful with the orchestral hits still in there. This is exactly how I wanted the music to be arranged. So yeah, this is my favorite Bowser Castle in the entire series, and on to the crown jewel. Wii Rainbow Road would honestly be perfect here if it weren't for the fact that there's anti-gravity throughout the entire track. I'm okay with it in certain sections, but the specific one I'm not okay with the anti-grav being in is the one with the giant circle ramps. You see, in Mario Kart Wii, the ramps were designed so you'd have to trick off them strategically, either by going really far to the right or left, or by using a mushroom to skip the entire thing. Whereas in 8 Deluxe, since there's anti-gravity throughout here, you can just use the floaty physics to go over it without a mushroom whatsoever. Other than that though, this course really is perfection. They nailed the graphics, they nailed the music, and they even kept in the meteor effect for when you fall off the track. This is the best course in the wave by a long shot, and it is honestly the best way they could have ended the Booster Course Pass. So I guess the Spiny Cup still did have higher highs and lower lows than the Acorn Cup, so the pattern of the second cup having higher highs and lower lows stays. Huh. Well then. Anyway, Wave 6 also introduced new things along with the new courses, so let's get into those as well. So along with the new courses, Wave 6 introduced the new music player as well as new Mii suits. I'm glad that they brought the Mii suits along from Tour as well, but I was really hoping that they would also add some kart parts from Tour, considering that Mario Kart Tour has so many fantastic kart parts to bring over. The music player is a really nice addition as well. It uses the album art from the original Mario Kart 8 OST back on Wii U, which means that this Mario render is now in 8 Deluxe on the title screen, which is cool. The music player is about what you would expect from an 8 Deluxe music player, although I do like that they allow you to listen to the different variations of the music. For instance, Moonview Highway, you can listen to the city version or the normal version, which is really nice. Even Music Park has all 5 of its different variations depending on what instrument you're driving on throughout the course. Unfortunately, you cannot listen to the final lap variations of the songs, which kinda sucks, but you know, I'm not gonna be using this as a music player to take with me on the go anyway because I have a phone. So I'm just gonna use this whenever I'm playing on the TV and I'm like bored in the menu or whatever. So yeah, that is everything introduced in Wave 6. Okay, so I actually just realized that I forgot to talk about the new characters, so I'm just going to quickly get into them. Diddy Kong, my most wanted character to join the game. So glad he's finally here. I am maining him for all of eternity. Funky Kong, it's really cool that they brought him into the game and that he isn't broken like in Mario Kart Wii. Thank you. And also, I'm pretty sure they kept all of his original voice clips the same, so that's just perfection all around. Pauline's another really cool addition, even though she cannot fit into a cart, but her horn, I don't like when the character horns do this thing. I'm just going to get into it really quick. So for Kamek, Diddy Kong, and Pauline, these are the 3 characters whose horn works really weird. What do I mean by that? Well, so basically, Kamek's horn, right? His horn sound effect is pretty much him laughing from Yoshi's Island. You know that. Da-da-da-da. Well, in 8 Deluxe, his horn makes the noise diddle-da-da. However, it only does the first 3 notes until you let go of the button. So when you push down the horn, it's like da-da-da, and then you let go, it goes duh. And you can hold it down for as long as you want. You can take the entire race of just playing, and then all of a sudden let it go and go duh. It's really dumb. For Pauline, it's the same thing. Her horn does the diddle-da-da sound effect from Donkey Kong in the arcade. However, it just goes diddle-da, duh, and you have to let go to get the final duh. I'm probably the only person on planet Earth who even gives a shit, but like, it's really, really weird. And I kind of hope they patch it because I think that's like a oversight. Diddy's does that too, but it's like a lot less noticeable. I don't really care. And then Peachette is existent. I mean, I don't really hate that she's in the game, but I don't think I'm ever gonna use her. So yeah, she just exists. It's another Peach in the video game. So yeah, anyway, those are all my thoughts on the characters before I wrap this thing up. So those are all my thoughts on Wave 6 of the Mario Kart Deluxe Booster Course Pass DLC for the Mario Kart Deluxe game. Please leave your thoughts on the Wave 6 in the comments below. I'd love to hear your rankings, any thoughts you have on the tracks. Maybe you have different opinions than I do. I'd love to hear them all. Hopefully you have a nice rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.